and which I hated, because I hated him, because I understood, even though I wasn't, fully understanding of sex and stuff at that time. I knew, like, I just knew that he was the dude that made my parents divorce, so of course I hated him. And when they got married and whatnot, I, at 12 years old, decided I wanted to go to another congregation. So I went to a neighboring congregation, the Bristol, Tennessee. Excuse me, the Bristol, Tennessee congregation, which we had went for about the first 2 years because it was the closest one where I lived. And my father would take me there. There were some brothers and sisters that would pick me up to take me to the meetings there and out in field service. And that lasted for a couple of months. And then I just kind of stopped going, stopped asking people for rides, stopped getting my dad to take me, which my mom hated. Like, my mom hated me going to that congregation anyway. She probably hated me, like, making a decision like that, but when she moved out, she didn't have the hold on me that she had had when, my parents were married. So, she, of course, would always talk to me about coming to the meetings and stuff, but I was starting to become a teenager and was starting to get into that, I'll just do what I want to do kind of thing. And I'd been taking guitar lessons for a while, and I didn't want anything else to do with Jehovah's Witnesses. I just wanted to be a guitar player and stuff, and wanted to dedicate my life to rock and roll and bullshit and stuff like that. So that I grew my hair out long. Started when I started getting facial hair, I just let it go, for what little patchy facial hair I had at 13, 14. And then I started warming up to my stepfather a little bit for some reason. I really don't know why, but I started to. And I started spending the weekends again at my mom's house where she lived with her new husband and his mother, because he was a mama's boy. That guy, that I'm not going to go that much into about that guy in this video, because that could take up another video or a whole series about that dude. That dude was a mess. Anyway, so I started spending the weekends there sometimes, and I would sit in on their Watchtower study because I really had no other choice, And I kind of got back into being indoctrinated. I never quit believing it, even when I stopped going. I just didn't want to do it anymore. But finally, I started getting indoctrinating again, and I just had this overwhelming sense of being scared about being destroyed when Armageddon came. So that was kind of the clincher for that. Clincher, I mean. And so I decided to start going back to meetings with them again, my old congregation. And not long after that, I started studying with a young elder. We went through the What Does the Bible Really Teach book. And then not long after that, when I was about 16 years old, I got baptized, which was the worst decision I ever made. I would give anything to go back and have just kept on going with what I had already been doing, just staying away from my mom and my stepfather and stuff like that. I wish I could go back, but we can't. We got to live with what we've done. But so I got baptized, started carrying the mics, whatnot. Started giving number 4 talks. I still had the theocratic ministry school then. Still, so I started giving number 4 talks, started doing special auxiliary pioneering, and was kind of on the fast track for becoming a ministerial servant. And then I graduated high school, and then right after I graduated high school, I began losing interest. I don't know why. Can't remember why it happened, but I just started losing interest, and eventually just kind of started fading to where by the time I was 19, I wasn't going to meetings at all, which really angered my mother. And by that time, my mother and my stepfather had separated. So she was by herself. And he was inactive at the time as well. And then the fading led up to the disassociation, which that will be for another video. But yeah, that's kind of just a rough overview of my experience growing up as a witness. Definitely wasn't a hard childhood when you compare it to, you know, people that were sexually and physically abused and things like that. But still, it has its own flavor of, you know, weirdness to it that's really hard to overcome. Especially, I still have looked back and just cringe at things, you know, like things that I thought when I was a kid and did when I was a kid. And I've seen a lot of other videos of people sharing their childhood growing up as a Jehovah's Witness stories, and I know this one isn't as good as those, but I still wanted to share it because nothing really that exceptional happened to me. The whole, you know, my mom fucking another guy getting his fellowship maybe was kind of weird, kind of out of the ordinary, maybe, I don't know. It was for our congregation. But those kind of things, I guess, kind of my sister getting disfellowshipped and how I saw people treat her, my mother getting disfellowshipped, it kind of helped pave the way for my apostasy at a very young age, because I was able to look back at some of these certain unpleasant things that happened. And I kind of look back on that with the knowledge I know now. I look back on that and I'm like, yeah, this is very dangerous. Because I remember when my sister was disfellowshipped, like all the arguments they would have. My mother and my sister, I mean, my mouth is getting a little bit dry. Let me get some tea. Got some tension tamer. I'm getting nervous on camera sometimes. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. That's what the tension tamer does. It just kind of numbs your head so you don't feel anything. But yeah, looking back on my sister being disfellowshipped and things like that, and how she was treated, and how no person should see a relative, you know, treated that way. Because I can't remember really what she did. Like, it's not that I don't remember, it's just I was never really told. She's never told me. And stuff, but, I mean, I know she didn't murder anyone. I know she didn't assault anyone. So, and at the time she was disfellowshipped, she was probably 16. And so she was still a child herself. And to see another child, especially when you're related to, treated that way at a young age, kind of has, you know, it kind of planted that seed of, you know, this isn't right. Even though I didn't realize it at the time that seed was there. But yeah, so that's kind of, I'm rambling on now. I know. I'm sorry. But later on in different videos, I'll go into more detail about different aspects of experiences I had growing up. I just wanted this video to be kind of just a main, just like a little overview of my experience growing up there. But thank you for watching. My next video, I'll do an overview of how I got out of being a Jehovah's Witness and the details about leaving and how I left and why I left and what I did. So yes, thank you for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe. And please, I have a Facebook page for Spiritual Junk Food. I'll leave a link for that in the description. So you can go there and like it if you want to. And I post little memes and little other things like that. Not too big. Yes, but thank you so much again for watching and have a good day. Thank you.